Okay, so I want to have a look here at the 2019 Translation Geometry question for Junior Cert Tech Graphics, and just go through it, go through how to solve the question basically. So in this question, this year the figure shows the logo for a lighting company. Okay, so it's basically just a circle with a rectangular base on it and two tangents coming from the point on the rectangular base. Okay, and they're asking us to draw the figure and determine and draw the image of the logo under each of the above transformations. So from P1 to P to P1, axial symmetry. P1 to P2 was central symmetry. P2 to P3 was translations, and finally a rotation anti-clockwise through 90 degrees from P3 to P4. Okay, now so just to save time on the video, I have the question set up. So I've drawn the logo. I've labelled my points P, P1, P2, P3 and P4, and I'm going to start the question from here. So I'm presuming everyone is okay with doing these points or getting as far as this in the question. Okay. Now, so the first part is a transformation in an axial symmetry from P to P1. Okay, no matter what the transformation is, the first thing we're going to always do is you're going to join point P1 and P. Okay, in this case it's P to P1, like this. Now, just be aware, I am doing my lines here heavy, but all these lines should be construction lines. I'm just doing them heavy just so you can see see what's going on with the visualizer. Okay, so I'm doing them a little bit heavy, but for you'll be doing them in light construction lines. Okay. Now, so P to P1, first thing I'm drawing P to P1, okay, so it's axial symmetry. So when it's axial symmetry, I need to find a line of symmetry coming along here. So my line of symmetry is going to be the bisecting line of that P to P1. Now, to get this line of symmetry, I'm just going to bisect the line P, P1, okay, so I'm getting my compass, setting one point on one end, and I bisect. So swing an arc on top and bottom, okay, and swing another arc on the top and the bottom. Now, so I'm getting the bisector of that line. Okay, and there we go. So just zoom this in maybe just so you can see it. Okay, so that line P to P1, I'm after getting the bisector, and that bisecting line is going to be known as my line of symmetry. Okay, so I'm just highlighting that in. You don't have to put that into your question, but I'm just showing you some notes. So LOS standing for line of symmetry. Now, so I want to perform axial symmetry in order to get this to do a transformation of this logo. So basically, axial symmetry, what I want to do, I want to take this logo and I want to flip it over my line of symmetry. So I want to take it and I want to just move it over like that. So I'm just flipping from one side over to the other. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label my drawing. Okay, so I'm going to this piece, I'm going to call this A, B, C, and I'm going to call the center point D. Now, so one thing to know when we're doing transformations, nothing changed, so nothing in terms of dimensions changes. Okay, so all the dimensions are staying the same no matter. So we're not scaling up or down any of the parts. Okay, so in axial symmetry, I want to create a series of lines parallel to PP1, and they're also going to be perpendicular to my line of symmetry. The first one I'm going to look at is my point D, which is my center point of the circle. Okay. From that, I'm drawing a parallel line. So this line is parallel to PP1, and it's perpendicular to my line of symmetry. Okay, so it's parallel to PP1 and it's perpendicular to my line of symmetry. I want to find point D over here. So I'm going to get the distance from where that parallel line intersects my line of symmetry on the point D. And I'm going to mark, and I'm going to rotate this line over to the far side. Now I'm going to get that point there is going to be known as D1. So the distance from D to my line of symmetry is the same as the distance from my line of symmetry to the point D1. Now, because I know none of my dimensions change, I'm going to I'm going to draw on my circle over here. From my question, we know that the circle is radius 25, so I'm going to set my compass to radius 25. And come along here, and I'm going to draw in my circle. One of the main things with these questions is accuracy, okay? So if you can tend to go off, and the questions can become a little bit inaccurate. So just making sure that you keep making sure your pencils are very sharp, your lead and your compass is sharp, and also just coming from the right points. So now I want to do the same for the rest of my points. I want to get a distance for A, I want to get for C, I want to transform C and B. Okay, so there we go. Same point, so I'm going to, for A, I'm going to put my line of symmetry, or my compass on the line of symmetry, and I'm coming across to A. I'm getting that distance and rotating it around, and that's going to get me A1. Okay. The next one is I want to get B. Okay, so that's B, and I'm coming across, that's going to be B1. And finally, I want to get C. Come across from C and rotating, that's going to be C1. Okay, so next thing is we're joining up our points. So A joins to P here, so that means A1 has to join to P1. Okay, so next one is so B joins to C, so they're also parallel here, so everything should be parallel here as well. It's just making sure. Okay, and I'm going to that's going to get me this line. So P joins to C, so P and C join together. Okay. And these are parallel, so the next line is parallel as well, so I'm going to join these 2 points A and B. Okay, and you see my points are all matching up perfectly. The next thing I want to get is these 2 tangent lines. Okay, so I have my points of contact here. I'm just going to show you how to get my point of contact for my tangents on this transformation. Okay, so I see that in my question, the point of the tangent is coming from the center of the base. Okay, so I'm at the mark of the center of the base here. I want to get a tangent to the ellipse, or to the circle up here rather, from this point. So to do this, I'm going to join that point to point D. Okay, so D being the center of my circle, like this. I want to bisect that line. Okay. Like that. Now, where I bisect the line, I want to get, so that's the bisecting line. So this is the bisector of that line. I want to draw in a semicircle, okay, with a radius of that line. So there we go. Draw it in. I want to, because I need 2 tangents both sides, I'm going to do the same for the far side. Now, where these 2 tangents, where these 2 semicircles intersect, my circle is going to give me my point of contact for that tangent. So I'm just going to draw it in. And draw it like that. Okay, so that line there, and this here is my point of contact. Okay, also here. Yeah, and again, all these lines I'm doing here should be like construction lines. I just do it a little bit heavier just to show you what's going on. Now, so the next part of the question is asking us to do is to carry out central symmetry from the point P1 to P2. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight. So here's P1, and I have P2 here. With any transformation, what the first thing we need to do is join the 2 points. So I'm joining P to P2, or sorry, P1 to P2, like that. Okay. Next one, this is a line of symmetry. That's for axial symmetry. If it's central symmetry, I need to get a center of symmetry. So rather than getting the bisector of that line, I just want to get a point I just want to get the point that bisects that line. So I don't want to actually get the bisecting line, I just want to get a point on that line. So we need to get the center of this line. So we're going to get our compass again, we're going to measure out and we're going to get over half. Okay, and I'm going to just bisect that line. Now, so that's center point. Okay, so that center point there is known as my center of symmetry. So CUS. Okay, so point of symmetry is center of symmetry. So all the points now I do have to go through that center of symmetry. Okay. Now, so the first one I'm going to take is I'm going to go back and I'm going to take my center point of my circle, so my point D. I'm just going to sharpen my pencil now just to make sure everything's. Okay. So when I get the center of symmetry, I want to transform, or I want to get point D over here through central symmetry. So I'm coming through my center of symmetry. So I'm lining them up. I'm drawing my line down. Now, I know that point D is somewhere along here, but I'm not sure where. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put point my compass on the center of symmetry, which we located as here. And I'm getting the distance from there out to my point D, or rather D1 rather. Okay, I'm bringing it around and I'm marking it off on that same line. So if we see here, that's getting me point D1. Now, so I'll just adjust the brightness. Okay, so we'll see that a little bit better now. So that's getting me point D1 over here. So again, I know nothing changes in regards to the size. Okay, just the orientation is changing this time. So I know the radius is 25. I know so that's going to be D2. Sorry. I'm going to draw in my circle. Okay, so that's going to get me the bottom point down here. Now, so I need to repeat that process for each of my other points. So for A1, I want to find A2 through central symmetry. So again, I'm going to be coming through my center of symmetry. Like this, and I'm going to get the distance from my center of symmetry to the point A1. I'm rotating that around and marking it off on the same line. That's getting me A2. I'm going to get point B now, B1, so I want to find B2. Okay, so it's along the same line. I'll just leave my set square there so I know what I'm doing. So I know what line I'm going to, and it's going to be that point, so I know if I rotate it around, it's going to get me B2. Next one I want to get is C1. Okay. Down here. And it's going to be carried out the same way. So getting the distance from the center of symmetry to C, rotating around and marking it off on that line. So that's getting me C2. Okay, so now we just join up my points. So I know A1 joins to P1, so A2 is joining to P2. Okay. The rest of these are all okay, so these are joined together also. Now, so we see all my points are lining up perfectly. Okay, just to draw in the two tangents then, so just to show you, so I'm going to get the center point of this again. Okay, so we see that that's still 30. I want to get a tangent to this circle from this point, so I'm joining the 2 points together, bisecting that line. Okay. Okay. Now I'm drawing in 2 semicircles. Or I can just mark it off. I'm just going to mark it off on my points. Okay, so I know I've drawn the semicircles where they intersect. Instead, I just marked it off. So now that gets me my logo. Sorry, my logo. True central symmetry from the point P1 to P2. Next step was from P2 to P3, we'd carry out a translation. Okay. Now, so P2 to P3 carrying out translation. Again, every one of these questions, what we're doing, first thing we're doing is join the 2 points. So I'm joining P2 to P3. With a translation, basically, I'm taking this image and I'm sliding it along that line, okay, to get over here. So the orientation isn't changing, nor the size. I'm just basically sliding it along that line. So what I want to do, I want to create a series of lines parallel to P2, P3. So I'm in that line, and each of these lines are going to come from each of the points I need to get. So I know I need a point from C2 to find C3. I need to go from A2. Okay, I need to go from B2, and I also need to go from D2. Okay, now I'm going to be getting all my lines. Because I'm just sliding it along, all these distances have to be equal to this distance here. So I'm getting the distance from P2 to P3 in this case, okay. And I'm going to swing a radius from each of these. So that's going to get me that. I came from C2, that's getting me C3. I'm going from A2, that's getting me A3 along the parallel line. I'm going from B2, that's getting me B3, and I'm going from D2, that's getting me D3. So just label these, that's C3, A3, B3, and D3. The radius don't change, so the radius is still the same at 25. So I can come along now and I can draw in my radius 25 circle. Okay. I can join up all my points, so I know A2 joins to P2, so A3 has to join to P3. Okay, so I'm joining it in. I'll come along. No, so and that's my bottom base completed. I want to draw in my 2 tangents. Again, I'm just going to draw them in. Okay, so it's good practice. That point, I want to draw a tangent from this point to this circle. So I'm joining from the circle, joining from the center point to the point I want to draw my tangent from. I'm bisecting that line. Like that. And I'm getting the bisector of that. So this point here is the bisector. I want to create 2 semicircles, the radius of the line I bisected. Okay, so I'm just going to draw in 2 semicircles. I'm just going to mark them off rather than draw them in. Okay, because I know where them semicircles intersect my other circle, that's going to give me a point of contact. So I'm coming from this point to here. I'm drawing it in. I'm coming from this point to there. I'm drawing it in. So that's getting me my tangents. And that's basically completing a translation from P2 to P3. Again, the same principle is being used no matter if I was carrying out translation up here or down here or in the center. Okay, it's the same principle, we're just moving it around to different places. Now, so the last one is looking at a rotation. Okay, so the rotation is going to be anti-clockwise through 90 degrees from P3 to P4. So again, the first thing we want to do is identify where P3 to P4 is. So here's P3 and here's P4. Like we do with any of these questions, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to join P3 and P4. Okay. Now, the difference in the higher level and ordinary level questions is the rotation is part of the question. Okay, ordinary level questions will have axial, will have central, and will have translations, but they won't have the rotations question part. Okay, this is the higher level section of the paper. So I want to rotate this anti-clockwise through 90 degrees. So the first thing I want to look at is identify what way we're going. So I know we're going anti-clockwise, so I'm going to be rotating it in this direction here. Okay, so I'm rotating it anti-clockwise. If I'm rotated anti-clockwise, that means my center rotation. Okay, so if I can identify that it's going rotating at this side of the P4, P3 line, so to the right hand side in this case, that means my center rotation is going to go on the opposite side, so it's going to go on the left hand side. Okay, so if you think of it when I'm rotating it around, this is my center rotation, I'm bringing this around like that. Okay, so I'm bringing it around. Now, I need to find my center of rotation now. Okay, so basically what I need to do, I need to create an isosceles triangle. Okay, so just zoom in and see what I'm doing here. I need to create an isosceles triangle like this one, okay, with the top section being my center of rotation. That line there is always going to be, in this case, it's going to be 90 degrees because that's the part in our question. If we're creating an isosceles triangle, if this is 90 degrees, that means because there's 180 degrees in a triangle, that means there's okay, so there's 180 degrees in a triangle. I know this is 90, okay, minus 90. That means we have 90 degrees left over between these two angles. I know it's an isosceles triangle, so these two angles have to be the same. So we're dividing it by 2. So that means each of these angles here is going to be 45 degrees. This is my center of rotation. The line opposite my center of rotation is going to be the same as my P3, P4 line. Okay, so if this is my center of rotation, the line opposite that is my P3, P4 line. Okay, so now let's put this back up here. So that means that this angle here at P3 needs to be 45, and this angle here at P4 needs to be 45. So I'm going to get my protractor at P3, measure along, and mark off 45 degrees. I'm going to draw on a line. Okay, that's one line. Again, we know that P4, this angle has to be 45, so I'm coming along and I'm going to mark it off at 45 degrees. Coming out from here. Where them two lines intersect, that's going to, up here is going to give me my center of rotation. Okay, and that's basically what I'm after. Taking this triangle here that I did, rotate it and put it up in here. So this angle here is 90, this is 45, and this is 45. Depending on the question, okay, sometimes they could tell you to rotate it through 120 degrees. The only difference would be that this top angle here would be 120 and these two here would be 30 each. Okay, so depending on the question. Now, just one way of checking if we're right. So this is going to be my center of rotation up here. Okay, so I'll just highlight that. So C, O, R I'll call it, up here. So the point of my compass is always going to center of rotation. If everything's lining up perfectly, my points, so point P3 should line up perfectly with P4, like this. Okay, so the two of them rotate perfectly in together. Now, so what I need to do is I need to rotate all this object right around through 90 degrees. So it's going to rotate along this line and it's going to end up somewhere up here. So, the first point I'm going to take is my center of my circle. Okay, so point D. I'm going to get the distance. I know my center rotation is always the point where the point of my compass is, and I'm getting the width from D. And I'm going to rotate a line around. like this. Okay, so I'll put it a little bit heavier. Okay, like this. Now, I need to create a similar triangle to this one here that joined P3 and B4. That's going to be the same as from the center rotation to D3 back out here. So just to highlight what I mean, I'm going to put this in heavy. Okay. Now, so I'm at to create a triangle from P3 to P4 with 90 degrees in my center rotation, and these two are 45, which we calculated here. I rotated from its center around, and that got me P4. So I want to do the similar thing here, except with D3. Okay, so I'm going to join my center rotation to D3. Okay, like this. So I'll just draw that in blue. Okay, I want to create a similar triangle to this. Okay, so when it's similar, I mean all the angles are the same. The sides aren't going to be the same. I want it to be 90 degrees, so my center rotation is where this. I want it to be at 90 degrees. I'm come along and I'm going to mark off 90 degrees. I'm going to come along, I'm going to line this up, and where that intersects my rotated line, so I'll put that in blue as well. Okay, that's going to give me point D4. I don't have to draw this line back in, I'm just going to just put it in to show you. So basically what I'm after doing is I create a similar triangle to this red one with the rotating the line D3. So this angle here is at 90 degrees, this is 45, and this is 45. And I rotated it around with my center rotation, and I found D4 up here, that point. You're going to continue that for the rest of them, so I'm going to take point A3 this time, and I want to rotate it. Okay. I'm going to join A3 to my center of rotation, and I want to create a similar triangle to these. So I want to create a triangle at 90 degrees. Okay, like that, and where that intersects the rotated line I brought around, so this was hit here, is going to get me A4. Continue that process then to get all the other points. So I want to get B and I want to get C now as well. So I'll get point B3. Okay. Rotate this around. Okay, and while I'm here I'll rotate C as well. Okay. So getting the line B3, I'm joining it back to my center rotation. Okay, so I'm getting draw a 90 degree line to that. So I want to draw that out as far as my rotated line. So this is a B3, so I'm bringing it around and bringing it in. That gets me B3. And finally with C3 then I want to join that back to my center of rotation. Okay, I'm going to create so a 90 degree line, and it's going to end, going to draw that line out to my C3 line, so that's going to end there. That's going to give me point C4, sorry, it should be also 4, C4. Okay, again only the orientation is changing, so the size isn't. So I know my radius of my circle is 25. going from point D, okay, because D was where the center of the circle was here, and I'm drawing in my circle. I want to join up my points now. So I know A3 is joining to P3, so A4 has to join to P4. So here's A4. Sorry, here's P4 here. Okay. Now, so the next point is parallel to that, just in this question. Okay, so we'll go parallel. And my points should line up, which should line up perfectly there. Okay. The next two, so B4 joins A3 joins to B3, so B4 joins to A4. Okay, and then I'm bringing this up. Like that. I want to draw in my two tangent lines, so again I'm finding the center of this circle, of this base. It's going to be here. I want to join them. I want to draw a tangent to these 2 points, so I'm going to bisect the line. Again, all of these are going to be in light construction lines. I just have them heavy on the visualizer. Okay. Again, that point. Okay, I want to draw a semicircle or an arc that crosses them circles at that point. That's going to join back to here. Like that. That's getting my rotated part of the question completed. So I'm after rotating the image from point P3 to P4 anti-clockwise through 90 degrees. And how I did it was I created my 90-degree triangle, 2 angles of 45, so an isosceles triangle, 1 angle of 90, 2 45. Did that for P3 and did the same process for created similar triangles to that from each of my other points. So just if I highlight, so for B, that would have been like this. Okay. And again, you don't have to draw this in, I'm just drawing them in so you can see what's happened. We see that's a similar triangle. That's a similar triangle to that triangle is similar to sorry no. Let's just try to adjust the brightness. That all these triangles here are similar in that they have 90-degree angle, they have a 45-degree angle, and they have another 45-degree angle, and they're helping us rotate this anti-clockwise through 90 degrees. So I hope that helps. What you should have when you're finished your question is something like this. Okay, so we have original image through axial symmetry, through central symmetry, through translation, and then rotated at 90 degrees through anti-clockwise.